Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 13th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm not doing the best. I'll just be right up front with it. I would love to say that today was a good day, but work was terrible. Work was bad. Work was, dare I say, an incident. Let's get into it. So I get up, I get to work. I really wanted to say more or less today has been on par with the rest of them. You know, we were marching along, doing the best we could, just getting the job done. It was what it was. But it got to a point where we fill up the crusher, and this is like maybe about 2 hours or so before I'm, supposed to be clocking out or whatever. And that's become the trend, since we've picked up, since peak has been what it has been, that's the consistency, for better or worse. And for one of the topsider supervisors that, has been coming at me, on and off for a bit, I've talked about that they weren't liking that answer. They weren't liking this reality. So they came down themselves to work it. And I see them do this after I've shut it down, like we're done here. It's all good. And he's opened it back up. He's crushing away. And I'm like, okay, man, go ahead and do my job. I guess if that's what you want to do so bad, by all means, have at it. And I at some point, I reach like just at a boiling point at this moment because I hear him filling it up. Like it's doing the thing that it had done to me. It's telling him it's filled. There's too much pressure now. The crusher in and of itself is stopping, and he's just resetting it, running it. And I'm about to go on my last break, so I come back up to him and I talk, and I try to be as cordial as I can, but also try to keep it light, whatever. And he kind of scoffs at me and says what he says. He says, nope, you can still run it. You can still put more in here. You just didn't want to. Like, he doesn't say that exactly, but like, that's what he's inferring. And I'm like, okay, so do you want me to come back and work on it when I get from my break? He goes, no, I got someone else to do it. And I'm like, literally that person was working with me before. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, fine, whatever. So I go on my break and I come back. I'm not in the best of mood, but it's whatever. I'm just going to tank it, just kill the rest of this, hour and some change and get out of here. One of the leads comes down and is talking to me about the pressure gauge, which has been this conversation this whole week. And I can tell that this is where we're going to make the standoff, is over this arbitrary, like literally Sharpied line that one of the supervisors or whatever put down and said, this is how far you can actually push it. And if you don't push it this far, you didn't do enough. Which is like, no, man, that's not how the crusher works. You can literally augment the pressure by just forcing out the arm. It decompresses it. And now you can potentially put more in at the potential detriment of the crusher itself. We literally had an incident about a month or two ago where the crusher literally broke a whole arm. I talked about this. So I'm trying to avoid the situation by not doing that. Clearly, no one cares, though. And I'm trying to voice this to the lead at the time. And they go, hey, I don't know. This is just what I'm told to do. I completely get that. But not even 5 minutes after the lead leaves, the crusher fills up again. Like it does the thing where I push out the arm, it stops, it's groaning. And I'm just like, I literally hit a breaking point and I start laughing maniacally. I'm going Joker mode. I'm going Joker mode in the trash can. Everybody knows. And I just tell myself I have to go up and talk to the supervisor. I have to do it. And so I do. Like, this is a person who's come down to me and lectured to me and dictated to me. And it's like, look, that is your job. So let me do what I can and try to communicate with you and tell you, like, really, pitch my case. So I go up to, and I tell this to the supervisor, and he essentially just scoffs me off again, saying, like, you don't know what you're talking about. This is how it actually is working in there. And I'm like, that's just not the case, though. And I reference the literal sign in the crusher that tells you what to do, how to handle it, how to work it. And he keeps talking about this once again, this Sharpied line that he has drawn on the pressure gauge to say this is the law now. And like, we're walking down to the crusher because now he's just like gonna confirm it to me. He's gonna show me how the job is. He's telling me about how much more experience he has over me and all this kind of stuff. And I'm trying my best to not pop off because I know that that's my job. Like I potentially not only get an insubordination write up for this, I could potentially, you know, just lose my whole job for saying something too fresh, too hot. So I'm trying real hard. And I literally throughout this, I weave in like, look, if you want me to, I'll keep pushing the crusher till it breaks. But that's what we're doing here. The line thing that you keep mentioning doesn't matter. I told you, we could go to 2,800 if that's what you really want. He goes, that's not what I want. I want 2,300. And I'm like, it's the same thing. It means the same thing. Because if I push it to 2,300, I let it depress, guess what? You're going to come down here and say, I didn't work it hard enough. Work it more. And we're just shoving more and more in until it breaks. We're not doing anything. Like, and then what? We're going to have to deal with that. And that's a whole other day lost. But okay, man, I will do what you want. I'll do it. You're the boss. You're Charles. You're in charge. And like, he just wasn't hearing it. So perfectly enough, the timing was, chef's kiss in my favor. I go down. One of the person who has been helping me since peak, they had been told to come back down and work it. And so that's what they do. And as they are working it, it is filling up. And he keeps telling me that I'm wrong. He keeps telling me that this is not what it is. And I'm like, man, this is what the girlies must really mean when they say gaslight. And I literally have a reflex, like I just like impulsively do this, where I tap the glass like I'm goddamn Squidward. I'm tapping the sign. I say, look, I hear what you're saying, but the crusher says when the pressure gets too full, it stops. I don't know what to tell you. That's what Rumpke is telling us. And he goes, I don't need the attitude. You can clock out and go home. And I'm like, no, like this is literally incentive. It's literally my fucking money. I'm not going anywhere. Like, so I go, no, man, I'll work it the way you want. If that's what you want. He goes, no, shut it down and just do what you want. And then he tells the person who's helping me, yeah, you just go upstairs, whatever. And he just leaves. And I'm livid. I'm so livid. And I try to hide it. I try to suppress it because I know it's coming. I can feel it like welling up in me. And I go, oh, okay, well, thanks for your help. As he's walking away. And as he rounds the corner, I break down. I just break down. I start crying. And I'm feeling like the most pathetic sad sack ever because I'm literally losing my whole composure to this, you know, this helper, a person who's younger than me. You know, I've been showing him the ropes and all this, and now he's seeing me in shambles. I'm like, this is like a terrible start to like a really like just overly emotionally driven video game or some shit. I'm not liking this. And I'm now apologizing. Like, I'm sorry. I'm acting like this. It's so frustrating to be talked to like you don't give a shit about this job, like you don't care, like you're stupid, when this has literally happened every year. And these people act like this is not going to happen every year if we don't have the pickups. We are just going to have to eat it. We're going to have to fucking be backed up. There's nothing else we can do. We can't force it. Like, I'm just sick of doing this year after year after year. And then to have like a supervisor tell me that I'm wrong, tell me that like I'm not experienced enough. I've been here for 10 years. I've been working this job specifically for 7. I was over it. I was livid. And then I tried to go like over to like maintenance, and I'm like just trying to like not continue to break down. And then of course the one guy there is no help, and I'm just like, I just need to get my composure back. I just need to get out of here and get on with my day, with my life. And so yeah, I mean, that's what I was able to do. I literally had to go home and just like get my composure. And I also just, my stomach wasn't feeling well. And so I went home real quick, kind of reconnoitered. I'm thankful to have at least a couple people in the moment that I was able to text and talk to kind of like calm down a little bit. That was helpful. But I've just been so distracted since that incident. And like, I'm sorry if it's going to affect this episode already. You know, that's mea culpa in advance. But yeah, it's so frustrating. Like, this is the second week of peak. We have about 6 more weeks at least of this shit. And it's just crazy that we're already at each other's throats, and it doesn't have to be like this. Like, because of ego. Like, once again, I will do what he asks. I just refuse to accept this arbitrary number that he just made up. He just made up and squiggled on the fucking pressure gauge and said, this is law now. This is gospel. When it's like, there's a sign. There's just a sign that tells you how to use this crusher. Literally an 18-year-old can do it. We could probably get a trained primate too. Like, it's just stop playing with me. Just stop it. So, I mean, that being said, tomorrow is a new day. I have to do some soul searching here. I'm going to talk to my supervisor and then go from there. I don't want to be petty about this because I know that that's going to lead to escalation and that's not going to be good. But I mean, if this has to go if I have to be a whole petty mayonnaise about this shit and take it all the way to HR, then fine. So be it. Like I'm over this shit because every year we do this like it's Groundhog's Day. And for once again, about 6 to 8 weeks, these people act like the sky is falling and they're about to be like lined up and shot or something. And it's like, well, then okay, make some pickups happen. And they won't do it. They won't do it until it gets so over our fucking heads that we have no other choice and recourse, and then we have to scramble. And that's not my decision. I don't have any fucking shot calling ability here. I just do the work. And when the work it says stop, then I have to stop. Like it is a quagmire of a situation that we are putting me in, and I don't know why we're doing it, but it is what it is. It really definitely broke my fucking spirit. So anyway, but back to the rest of my day. I'm sorry. I do wind up getting to the gym. I do a heavy set situation because I just wanted to hit it. That was the plan before this, and I wanted to keep up with that. So I'm really happy with that. I'm still maintaining my new PR, which is nice. And still, you know, we're adjusting to it for sure. And I also just wanted to, I'm trying to get back into lifting a little bit more heavier on my bench. I took a bit of like 2 or 3 week break on the heavy sets and just not lifting as much. I don't know. I kind of noticed I lost a little bit of form, which is crazy to me because I'm not like doing like these are egoless for sure. And I didn't think that I would actually get much out of it. Many people say you don't, but I maybe I'm just overthinking or whatever, but it does feel like I want to get back on that because I want to get a little bit, you know, more definition. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like part of this is the physique, and like even if these are ego lifts and I'm not doing them with the best form, apparently making it move does something for me. So I don't know. I kind of want to get back to that, touch that power. But yeah, I was just a bit distracted, you know. So I do a bit of the Smith machine, a bit of the free weights. Also, it's worth noting too, Thursday, busy day for no reason. And I'm like, I just can't win here. People are really out here. Like last year, it wasn't as busy. This year, it's a little bit more so. And I mean, hey, at least people are trying to get fit. I respect that. I love that. I'm also amongst those people. So I can't knock it. I can't really talk shit. But yeah, we got everything done that I wanted to get done, at least in terms of like what I would call my essentials. I didn't do any filler work outside of just my core work. And then on the cardio, I only did 30 minutes, just 15 on the Stairmaster, 15 on the treadmill. And I looked at the time and I was like, I'm late. I'm running late. We are very far behind. As of recording this, I'm very far behind for my day. That kind of sucks. I got to work tomorrow. Like I mentioned, it's not going to be a fun day. I'm not starting off my weekend to a great start. Hey, it is what it is. So yeah, man, that's been my day, y'all. Like, I don't know. I can't lose this job. I can't lose this job, y'all. Like right before my bonus. No. So look, I'm gonna play ball here. I'm gonna do the best I can. But sorry, I got a little bit of nut in my mouth. That sounded crazy to say, I know. But no, it's just one of those things where I know I need this job. I gotta play it right. I gotta be cool, Johnny, be cool. But man, it took everything in me not to lash out, because especially with this guy like popping fresh. This is a person who is, I don't know. They're not an older supervisor, I guess, and maybe that's the problem here. So they're talking like I'm offending them, like there's something to be standing off about. And it's like, brother, you're a grown ass man. You make probably like double my fucking salary. Get real. Get a fucking grip, bro. Like this isn't a pissing contest. It's crazy to do this. If you don't know something, just admit that you don't fucking know, bro. Like, that's why I was like, brother, you can keep debating me all you want about pressure gauges. All of a sudden, like, you're fucking Bill Nye. But guess what? Rumpke on High told us how to work this fucking crusher. Read the goddamn commandments, you stupid idiot. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say about that. I'm glad I got to get this out. It is part of the beauty of what I do is at least I get to blog and talk my shit. And, you know, and we call it a day. We keep it moving. I know this is a crazy startup and maybe not what you expected. Sorry if you're a new listener. That's crazy. You're just like, who is this guy? What are he talking about? I'm talking about mashing trash, baby. It's not glamorous, okay? Anyway, I'm ready for this startup, bro. Let's get into it. And like I said, the news is gonna be a bit rough. I'm gonna try to do the best I can, stick to this lack of script, but bear with me. Breathe in. All right. I will say, last thing I'll say before we get into it, as sloppy as I was about it, and yes, did I capitulate by saying, hey, I'll do what you want? Like, okay, I'm glad I stood my ground. Like, this entire time, literally over years since this person took the position over me, I have let them talk to me in a way because it's like, look, you do have overall experience in terms of seniority over me. You are in a higher position. I have to respect what you have to say. I have to do what you ask. I don't have a choice. Even though you're not my supervisor, I have to abide. Okay. But each and every time this year, he has been out of pocket in some way, shape, or form. And at this point, it's just peak. He's gone to the maximum zenith and he's not coming down. He's not going to compromise with me. He's not going to work with me. And to talk to me in that kind of way, to say, oh, actually, you can just fuck off. Like, I mean, obviously, once again, paraphrasing, but to say, no, clock out, get out of here. Like, you're just not going to do that to me. Like, I kind of refuse. I will be as fucking petty as I need to be. So yeah, I am just glad I stood my ground to at least that point though, because I'm just sick of this shit, man. Especially when I know I have other people in my corner who understand what I'm saying, and I, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not some fool on a hill. When it's full, it's full. Like, it's just so simple, man. Anyway. I'm so sorry. I'm using this as like a BetterHelp resource. I gotta chill. Okay. From Los Angeles Times. But I will say thank you, Yahoo News, because, of course, Los Angeles Times paywalled this article. So, had to go around the bend. I didn't read the headline. I didn't read the title. New revelations emerge in corruption probe of ex-advisors for Newsom, Becerra. Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff was arrested Wednesday on federal charges that allege he siphoned $225,000 out of 2026 gubernatorial hopeful Xavier Becerra's dormant state campaign account, and wrote off $1 million in luxury handbags and high-flying travel as business expenses on her tax returns. That's so brazen. It's so ballsy. We are talking about a scam goddess here, low-key. I gotta give credit where it's due. And tomatoes. I mean, obviously it's fucked up. You don't want to be doing no fucking scams, no grist. Obviously, boo crime. But also, like, this just kind of came out of nowhere. And just, like, once again, to be so bold to take literal campaign dollars from someone's fund that you're supposed to be running, operating, like you're in concert with, trying to help and support. You're taking this money and just using it on yourself in, like, the most extravagant, lavish ways. You're balling out of control with money that is not yours. We love it. We love a girl box. We love a girl boss. We love a girl maxer. Got to give flowers where they're due. Newsom is not mentioned in connection with the allegations and has not been accused of wrongdoing. But the attorney for the former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, I don't know why I can't pronounce names. I'm just so bad with names. We're going to say Williamson. Dana Williamson. Gaffney said that more than a year ago, federal authorities approached her seeking help with some kind of probe of the governor. So this is where I'm like, wait, so this seems almost nefarious. Once again, not that I am saying that Gruesome Gavin is above reproach or anything like that, like he's some fucking saint. But it's like, wait, so you were coming here because you wanted to get some dirt on Gavin, right? And then you found some trouble, just not related to him, per se. She told them she had no information to provide them, and then we wind up today with these charges. Williamson's attorney, McGregor Scott, said in a statement to the Times, Scott, a former U.S. attorney in Sacramento, did not provide details about the approach, and it was not mentioned in the federal indictment. A second source with knowledge of the case, who was not authorized to speak publicly, said federal investigators tried to pressure Williamson into implicating Newsom, but that Williamson told them she had no knowledge of any wrongdoing by the governor and that she refused to cooperate. So now that I'm like saying this and thinking about it like out loud, maybe they were noticing like a money trail, like money was disappearing or whatever, and maybe they thought like, oh, maybe she's involved, maybe she's like a go-between or something like this, but like maybe this is the big fish we're trying to hit, and then they just go realize, no, it's just all her. Now, I don't know. This is wild speculation. I'm just trying to think like, what gets them there that's not an alternative, like not a dark ulterior motive of just like, we want to get a Democratic governor, let's get Mr. California. Like, I don't know. I'm very curious about that. Maybe that comes out in the trial, or maybe I can glean some of that by doing a little bit of podcast ear hustling, as I like to do. But Scott, I already read that, my bad. A second source, did I read this too? Yes, I did. Okay. According to the 23-count indictment, unsealed Wednesday morning, political consultant Williamson conspired with Becerra's former chief deputy in the California Attorney General's office and ex-chief of staff Sean McCluskey. Ooh, they spelled it with like the extra C there. I kind of like that. Sean McCluskey, along with lobbyist Greg Campbell, to Bill Becerra's dormant campaign account for bogus consulting services. Dude, I love a corrupt lobbyist. So fucking sick, dude. Because you're already a lobbyist. You're already like, I mean, in my opinion, a fucking piece of shit. Just on profession alone. Maybe you might be a real salt of the earth cool guy. I don't know. But like, your job is to like worm tongue someone into doing what you want. And it's probably against their constituents' actual interests, and you don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like, deeds got to get done. Got to sell some guns. Like, whatever. So, I got really no love for a lobbyist. But on top of the fact that you're technically a dirty one, you're on a take. Oh boy, a special place for you. Anyway, Williamson, 53, entered a federal courtroom in Sacramento on Wednesday afternoon, looking solemn, wearing an oversized gray hoodie. Dude, same. She initially remained composed, but could be heard softly crying as the case progressed. She pleaded not guilty to the charges. I mean, she's just like me for real, okay? Except I'm not a scammer. I'm not a scammer. I'm just a content creator. I'm just a young content creator. With a Patreon, you should subscribe. Okay, I'm sorry. Scott said Williamson was ill and had recently been put on a waiting list for a liver transplant. In my experience, an arrest warrant is only issued for people who have committed violent crimes or are a flight risk. There was absolutely no reason for them to not contact me, let me know of the indictment, and allow me to make arrangement to surrender herself, he said. Williamson, McCluskey, and Campbell allegedly used shell companies they controlled to funnel money from the campaign fund starting in early 2022, when Becerra was serving as Health and Human Services Secretary under President Biden. The news today of formal accusations of impropriety by a long-serving trusted advisor are a gut punch, Becerra said in a statement. I have voluntarily cooperated with the U.S. Department of Justice in their investigation and will continue to do so. As California's former Attorney General, I fully comprehend the importance of allowing this investigation and legal process to run its course through our justice system. The bulk of those payments went to McCluskey's wife, then a stay-at-home mom, for fake work. Federal authorities allege McCluskey agreed to plead guilty to a single count of conspiracy to commit fraud and is cooperating with authorities, court filings show. This is a random tidbit, but this thought came to me just when on the topic of fake work. I was bullshitting, just talking to a coworker, and I had mentioned that, like, I think if you ever got me to like work like for the mafia, for like the mob or whatever, one thing that I would love, like a job that I would go out of my way to get, is the no work job. right? So like picture Goodfellas, right? Like towards the beginning, where Ray Liotta's character is like he's bopping around, and literally like his job was just to get the take from these companies, and essentially he would just come chill on site, do like some construction, whatever, pop in, whatever, get his little check, get his little his little stacks of cash in an envelope, whatever, and move on about his way. Takes a whole fucking take. Gives it the bosses, whatever, da 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 da. The money goes up the chain. I would love that job. That job would be so sick. So just fast forward that 2025, obviously no mob related, no mob ties here, at least not that I know of. I would love to be in a McCluskey wife situation where you got a fake job and it's really just taking this money and moving it around. It's unbelievable, said Steve McGilio, a longtime Democratic consultant who has known Williamson for more than 2 decades, and Campbell for nearly the same. They are both the very best at what they do. They know the rules. That's why this seems to make no sense whatsoever. Campbell's attorney, Todd Pickles, Campbell's attorney, Todd Pickles, said his client takes full accountability for his actions and is cooperating fully with the legal process. I know Greg Campbell to be an honorable former public servant and a positive and respected member of the community who has conducted himself with integrity through this deeply challenging process. Dude, he's a man of honor. Okay? All right? Say what you will about him. He's a man of honor and integrity. Like, motherfucker, shut up. I hate this like whole idea of like, well, this is like a pillar of the community. Yeah, and they use this position to do fucked up shit. So like, why the fuck are we supposed to care about that right now? Like, no, man. Boo. No. throw him in jail. Throw away the key. I don't know, man. What the fuck? In addition to, they're using one of my favorite words. In addition to bilking Becerra's campaign fund. What a sentence. Williamson was charged with falsifying documents to backstop a COVID-era small business loan and claiming designer handbags and luxury vacations as business expenses on her tax returns. So here we go. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Among her contested write-offs, Williamson allegedly bought herself a $15,353 Chanel purse and a $5,818 Fendi wallet, splashed out for a $150,000 birthday trip to Mexico, where she charged an $11,000 yacht trip, charged a $21,000 jaunt on a private jet. Oh my God, let's go. And dropped more than $10,000 at an unnamed California theme park. Dude, dropping bands on bands on bands on bands on bands, dude. Like, she did not care, dude. She was spending it like it was stolen, because it was. Like I said, man, we stand a girl queen. We stand a crime boss. Dude, like that's just, it's so wild to spend that much money. And also, like, I don't know, man, a wallet? Over 5 bands for a wallet? Don't get me wrong, I've always understood a purse, and maybe this is just something that my dumb boy brain cannot comprehend. Like, I've had the same wallet since I was a teenager. It's this bulky piece of shit wallet I got from PacSun. I just love it so much. It's got a special little ID slot, and it's got a little leather card for that. I've always loved that wallet, and I will keep it until it rots. All right, so the idea that I would spend any more than like $50, I guess, with inflation at this point on a wallet, it's just kind of crazy to me. So like, I don't care what brand, that's intense. But I mean, hey, go off. You got that money, swipe it. Crazy work. The Paycheck Protection Program was part of a $1 trillion federal effort designed to help Americans and small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. Dude, it's crazy. I really am just beginning to think that all this COVID money was just a dark sludge fund. It was just a dark sludge fund for grift. And then like a bunch of masks that people maybe bought and then like they just like sat in crates or something, like dumb shit like that, sadly. I don't know, man. Like every time we just keep going back to like, hey, what happened to all that COVID assistance money or this and that? And it's just like, I didn't get used, or like it actually got like, tapped into for some grift or crime. Like, God damn, that's so unfortunate. So it goes. Williamson was released Wednesday on a $500,000 bond. Judge Carolyn Delaney ordered her to provide a DNA sample. submit to drug testing, surrender her passport, and relinquish any firearms in her possession. She gave Williamson until November 26 to put up collateral. News of the indictment could further scramble a 2026 race for California governor, which will be an open seat as Newsom terms out. Becerra has launched a campaign for the post, as have a number of other prominent Democrats, including former Representative Katie Porter and a former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. I'm sure I'm fucking that up. Villaraigosa, sure. While Becerra is not accused of doing any wrongdoing in the case, having his name linked to Sacramento insiders accused of political corruption could complicate his run. The indictment could also cause problems for Newsom, who has openly said he is considering a run for president in 2028, though there's no indication that the allegations are tied to the work Williamson did as Newsom's chief of staff. Republicans and other political rivals may exploit a scandal tied to one of his top former advisors. Let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead a bit. But yeah, more or less they summarize here for what I'm skipping. She worked, she got really deep with the, actually, I just will read it. A former cabinet secretary to former Governor Jerry Brown, that's intense, who also worked for former Governor Gray Davis. She served Newsom through a difficult period for California in the governor's office when a budget surplus shifted to a deficit and policy priorities became harder to push through. And then she left her job at the Capitol in December. Let's see here. They talk about Newsom's trip in Brazil. He's been there since Sunday. He's essentially playing like, hey, I'm a potential, alternative in the future come 2028. You should be thinking about me. I'm the guy from California, okay? Remember me. I'm Gavin Newsom, I actually love Brazil. I love climate. I want to preserve the climate. I don't know why I'm making him sound like Donald Trump. He doesn't sound like Donald Trump at all. I do not have a Gavin Newsom impression, and it would probably sound like a goblin. I don't want to do it. So no, we're not going to work on that today. And I'm already losing my voice. But yeah, I mean, he's talking that sweet shit. He's talking that good shit. So I guess we'll see how that shakes out for him. Let's see. But more importantly, we'll see how this shakes out for Williamson. This is something where I'm like, I don't really necessarily care so much about this individual. She's someone who is like, more behind the scenes. It's not like she's a political figure in that regard. But that being said, I love a good grift. I love a good crime. It's not a heist, but you know what I mean. So we love a good scam, good fraud. So I will try to keep track of this. We'll see if there is any blowback. I know I spent a long time in California here on this story, but it is worth noting that the DOJ is looking to sue California over the Prop 50 thing, which is something I did mention in my extra thoughts. I should have mentioned it before, but I just kind of got lost in it. It was election week stuff. It's one of the things that did pass, which gives California the ability to redistrict, aka do the icky ass fucking gerrymandering, which, hey, look, they're trying to fight fire with fire finally, I guess. But I've kind of already talked about this in a bit more details previously, but it's kind of a losing battle because there's going to be other states that are also doing this. But this is where the hypocrisy kicks in for the Trump administration to be totally okay with that. To have Trump post saying, yes, I want you guys to do that. Stack the deck. Let's fucking go. And then when California attempts to do this, goes through the process of doing this, they're like, oh, no, you can't do that. We're going to sue you. We're going to try to do any kind of injunction to stop you from doing that. It's like, I thought we weren't politicizing, the administration. I thought that's not what we were supposed to be doing with our presidential powers, the executive branch. But I guess not. I guess, once again, that was a lie. That was a bold-faced lie. That boy's a liar. Anyway, I'm going to take a water break. This is already going so much longer than it should. I am yap-maxing. I am so sorry. Because this is also going to be, I think, a bit of a winder, a bit of a talker, reader. Bear with me, y'all. You're getting a full girthy episode, it looks like. Okay. From ABC News. Starbucks workers strike at some stores nationwide in Red Cup rebellion, union says. Starbucks baristas are set to walk off the job in dozens of U.S. cities on Thursday, aiming to galvanize public support and pressure the company on Red Cup Day, the coffee giant's annual holiday promotion. More than 1,000 Starbucks workers will go on strike at about 65 stores scattered across states as far-flung as California, Texas, and Pennsylvania. Starbucks Workers United, or SWU, the union representing the workers, told ABC News in a statement. Union members say Starbucks has failed to make proposals on key issues like staffing levels and pay since the labor group rejected a company offer in April. The workers also seek to resolve hundreds of allegations over illegal labor practices, including claims of retaliation targeting union members. Now, I want to say we started covering this a lot, or at least a good amount, last year. When they started making a push to unionize, they have fought very hard to make this happen. And it's a shame that they did that, and their reward is to just get slow walked by Starbucks for them to just do nothing. They got a whole new fucking Chipotle CEO who's jet setting to and from, his home to, make it to these fucking meetings and shit and hold court. But no, we're not going to actually provide for you guys. And I feel like the narrative that is being pushed by Starbucks is like saying, hey, look, this is happening. We accept it, but it's a very small percentage. It's like, like 4% or less. Like this is very, we're fine. Actually, I'm going to read a little bit from the article. As of Thursday afternoon, 99% of Starbucks stores remain open amid the strikes. So I mean, essentially there's a bit of a play down here. And they're just kind of saying like, hey, it's a shame that Workers United wants to play like this. We really want to talk. We want to make it happen. But, if that's the case, then they're just going to do what they're going to do. But it's like, no, man, you're dragging your ass on this shit. You're not giving them any real, avenue to really work with here. And not to mention, it's probably making things only worse for them and kind of compounding this issue anyway. So it's a shame that we can't just sit down at the table and actually get a real deal working, which is what you're supposed to do. Hold on. I think that there's a stat by Bloomberg that I did want to mention here. Meanwhile, the company and the union have yet to strike a deal on a contract. The average length of time before a new union signs its first contract is 409 days. According to a Bloomberg law analysis in 2021, roughly 625 days have passed since Starbucks and the union have announced a mutual commitment to reach an agreement. So yeah, I mean, things are a bit foobar. I know I'm just kind of skipping around here. I'm dodging a bit of details, unfortunately. But yes, I am rooting for the union on this one, as always. It's unfortunate that things have to take this step, but once again, if a company's not gonna come around, they're not gonna really meet you where you're at or even try, then like you got to take measures like this. I really do hope that they are fruitful measures, and that some good comes of it. And I will definitely keep you posted if I do hear any more. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that, talk about that, and, show some solidarity in that regard. As a person who's not in a union, who has to, really fight and really feel like they're on their own. Like, it's not like you really feel like you have anyone truly in your corner. It sucks, especially on a day like I just described to you. It would be so much nicer to be like, hey, I'm going to go talk to my union rep and we can just get this all sorted. And I know I'll at least have y'all on my side here. You know what I mean? Like, there's not going to be some random guy coming here and trying to tell me what to do that's technically not my boss, not my department head in any kind of way, technically. You know what I mean? But hey, it is just what it is, man. I know I'm making this about me. But anyway, let's move along. I got a recall. Let's talk about some bad meat. This is from, hold on. I think I got something in the way here. Why is it telling me? Let's see here. Highest class recall issued for thousands of pounds of frozen products. I believe this is WKRC. Got a bit of local, yeah. The Food Safety and Inspection Service issued a recall of the highest class for thousands of pounds of frozen meat products due to potentially dangerous mislabeling. The FSIS announced on November 4th that 4,120 pounds of chicken and beef croquettes sold by the brand Brazilian Taste has been recalled because the product contains sesame, but is not noted on the label. No illnesses or adverse reactions were reported in connection to the recalled product at the time of the recall's publication. We're just going to say some of the names. I'm not going to go through all the numbers and dates and stuff, but there's Saint Cohina XL chicken croquette. There are two types of those. There's like a 5 and a 15. Let's see. Then we got the Saint Cojina ground beef croquette, risole de carne. That sounds fun. But yeah, I mean, all these potentially have sesame in it, so that's a bit of buyer beware. Once again, I would check the article or just Google if this is like a product that you like and frequent. Go ahead, Google that, track that down, see, oh, I might have some bad meat. I might have some sesame in my meat. And if that's the case, throw that shit out, toss it, get rid of it. Get your recall. I mean, obviously, if you have like a sesame, allergen or something like that. I mean, hey, maybe you don't want it. Maybe you eat. Period. You know what I mean? Like this is a buyer beware. Obviously, I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm not some expert. I'm just a podcaster. I'm just a yapper. But just be careful. Be aware. But yeah, let's move on. We have one more story that I wanted to cover. We have one more thing that I wanted to leave. So yeah, penny for your thoughts. But before we get to there, let's go ahead and take our last break and we'll go ahead and close it out. Oh man. I'm seeing an ad for looks like some fries. Hey, this is not sponsored, but I guess McCain Quick Cook. I'm actually gonna be real. They don't look like the best fries, but I'm very hungry, and like the idea of eating some fries like fresh out the air fryer sounds delectable. So I mean, hey, let me know if you're a McCain enjoyer. Wait, the fry, not the let me stop. Let me cut it. Anyway, from the Associated Press, U.S. Mint presses final pennies as production ends after more than 230 years. Man, it looks like this is the end, y'all. It looks like it's our last penny. We're on our last penny, y'all. No. The U.S. ended production of the penny Wednesday, abandoning the 1-cent coins that were embedded in the American culture for more than 230 years, but became nearly worthless. When it was introduced in 1793, a penny could buy a biscuit, a candle, or a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Now, most of them are cast aside to sit in jars or junk drawers, and each one costs nearly 4 cents to make. All right, let me take an aside, because I for sure have a jar full of coins. A bunch of either random nickels, dimes, mostly pennies. And the idea was, of course, excuse me, I'm burping it out. You fill said jar all the way up, and then you're going to go and take a bunch of coin sleeves, roll them all up, take them to the bank, and get that exchange for some good old cash money. And I never do that. It's never going to happen. I never amass enough coins for all that. It's just something that you do. So that it's literally just a penny collector. I literally have a penny in the bottom of my laundry bin that I'm just too lazy to pick up. I just don't want to pick it up. It's just not worth it, So I just let it sit there. So, am I an enjoyer of the penny? No. I feel like I made my truth known about my thoughts on the penny. I'm not gonna miss it. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I didn't think that we were actually gonna go through with this. It's one of those things where we haven't done this in like centuries. I think, they said the last U.S. coin to be discontinued was the half cent in 1857. I kind of expected us just to kind of hold frame on here, whether this was good for us or not. I mean, we literally have daylight savings time. We've talked about that going away, and it never did. It's still here. We're still leaping forward and falling backwards or whatever the hell. So I figured the penny would just roll on. And I guess not. I guess we're done with that. And I know that maybe there's, like I said, people nostalgic, or maybe I did say this, maybe I didn't. People are nostalgic for the penny, maybe. I know historically it has some significance. It's more than just a penny, But I think, there's another thing I wanted to say. I would love to buy anything for a penny. It just sounds so cute to do, right? Like, could you imagine? Here's a penny, get a biscuit. Oh my God. I would love that. Ooh, a piece of candy for a little penny? Golly, thank you so much. But hey, needless to say, that's just not the world we live in. And, it's costing us too much money to make them. I think also, it costs a lot of money in general to make these coins. So, I don't know. Maybe they're all going away over time. Probably not. I think, the penny was just the one that's going to go in our lifetime, I would say. But let me see here. What else did I want to really pull? Oh, my concern, my biggest, probably only concern is what are we doing about the rounding up or the rounding down? I think that there is a hope, there's an optimism that people are going to round down and you're going to go to your store and instead of paying that 99, you're going to pay something down to the nickel. So you're going to save 4 cents, right? That would be nice. That would be great. But I think the reality is probably they're going to round up. And it's like, okay, so it's just technically everything's just going to be a penny more. But like, can you imagine the 1,000 needles that's going to be, right? And I think that also a lot of these businesses are getting put in a lurch here, where they mentioned in this article where there was no guidance. There was no rollout to this. It was one of those things where you guys started talking about this shit and now we're doing it. But there's no protocol. You're just going to change this shit overnight. We're done printing pennies and now we're going to, we're left to fend for ourselves. Essentially that's what these businesses are saying, which is AKA they're giving themselves the out to say, hey, we had to do this. We had to make things more expensive. Sorry. It's just a penny. But once again, a penny across your whole store. Think about it. A penny across a whole Kroger. That does something. That's not nothing, man. So I'm a bit weary of us leaving the penny, but also, hey, the counter is each penny costs 4 cents to make, right? So that's a detriment. It's just not worth it, right? For a thing you don't want to use, for a thing you're not spending, you're letting rot in a jar. You got me there. You got me there. So, penny saved is a penny burned. New slogan, new motto, just unlocked. You heard it here first at the newsstand. Go ahead and put it on a t-shirt. Okay, that's it, man. That's all I got. It looks like we made it. All right, we're just doing bonus time. We're doing chill time. I'm doing a bonus one. I'm doing a bonus last break. We're doing an extra break. We're sneaking one. Ooh, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie. It's cool. I don't know. Let's see. Free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Let's see. Leave a like. Leave a comment. That's cool. Don't leave a mean comment. You want to kick me when I'm down? You want to be that way? You want to take a rider walkie to my spirit? Nah, you better be forklift certified, I say. No, I don't know. I'm talking crazy. I'm talking crazy. No, but leave something nice. Be cool. Be chill. Sharing is caring. It can be fun. Let's see. 5 stars on Spotify. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. I really only want the 5. Don't hit me with that 4 shit. What the fuck? I don't need angel numbers. I need 5s. Okay, don't play with me. In my trying times, do not. Let's see. And it's okay if you don't do any of that stuff. You can cut all that malarkey, Jack. I really just appreciate you tuning in. You guys are here for my triumphs. You're here for my tribulations. You're here for my shitty tabloids. I don't know. I'm trying my best every day, and I appreciate you just tuning in to see how I fare. And to see my attempts at, trying to talk about news and stuff going on around the world and how I feel about it, that really does mean a lot to me. And I'm really thankful. Sorry, I can't talk. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.